Today I'm going to be going over AnythingLLM, which is basically ChatGPT but local. So here is the interface right here. It's probably one of the cleanest interfaces that I've seen for a local installation. I think it's better than like the Ubabooga or even the Silly Tavern interface, but not as customizable as like Silly Tavern or Ubabooga. However, I can just talk to whatever model I have loaded, say something like, hi there, hi there, who trained you? And the model that I have is Lava, which is trained by Meta. And, we can change what type of model we want to run. This is highly customizable still with all of these different LLM providers. And it comes with a bunch of bells and whistles like vector databases, embeddings, retrieval augmented generation, which basically those things allow you to do things like chat with documents and have kind of like memory or a knowledge base. Additionally, there are some other cool things in here. So you can upload documents in here that the model can use retrieval augmented generation to kind of use it as knowledge to reference off of. So I've got two files here, F5TTS and then my audiobook maker here. So for example, if I say something like @agent, this is going to allow me to call a agent to do the retrieval augmented generation. So I'm going to say something like, can you use RAG? Tell me how to install the audiobook maker. So I'm going to send that there, and then we're going to switch over into this agent chat. And it's going to try to find the documents that are most relevant to help answer this question. And so it will do a little bit of processing. And once the processing is done, you'll end up with this. So here we go. We've got the instructions that I have in here. I think these are pretty accurate. Yeah, these are pretty accurate. Launch the audiobook maker. Doesn't have everything, unfortunately, but it has most of it. So I haven't completely and thoroughly tested this out, but it is a feature that is present. Now, unfortunately, this was not done by a local model. So this is actually plugged into OpenAI's GPT-4o mini model. And that is because of a limitation for local models. Local models for function calling or tool calling is still a little lackluster in my testing, but I've only done a brief couple hours of testing for that. So if you have any local function calling models, please feel free to share that knowledge in the comments. So I'm gonna stop talking about this and show you how you can install this. And this was actually brought to my attention by NVIDIA. So AnythingLLM is completely open source. It's a completely open source project. You can modify it however you want, but NVIDIA wanted me to highlight that the project is accelerated with NVIDIA RTX consumer GPUs. So if you have an RTX graphics card out there, you should be able to run this project as long as your VRAM is capable and you're able to fit some of the models in there. So if you have 8 gigabytes or so of VRAM, you should be able to run most 8 gigabyte models out there. And then you've got all these different quantizations and whatnot to run larger models. But regardless, I'm going to show how you can get this installed on your computer. And you can do Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. So this does indeed work on Apple Silicon. But I'm going to go and install this on my laptop here, as I actually haven't installed it on my laptop. So it's going to be a fresh start on this Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 7. And this is the laptop that was sponsored to me by NVIDIA and Lenovo. And so far, it's been absolutely fantastic for my workflow. I really love the portability of it. And the ability to still run small local LLMs and stuff like that is just pretty cool, because on the go, I need it for several of my projects. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can install it from a clean slate. So to get this installed, it's pretty quick. You just go and download whatever version you want. And we're going to do x64 for Windows. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the downloads folder and get that installer downloaded. All right, once it's downloaded, just navigate to the folder where it's at and then just run it. So I'm just going to install it for myself only. And this is going to be where it downloads to, or where it's located. I'll show you a little bit later. So we're just going to go ahead and install. And this is going to take about 10 gigs of storage. So just wait for this to finish and install already. And once it finishes up, you'll be at this screen here. We are just going to leave it checked and run AnythingLLM for this. So Gonna go ahead and allow this on the network. It's gonna boot up here, and it's by Mintplex Labs are the ones who created AnythingLLM. And it's gonna bring us through kind of like a tutorial. So we're gonna go and get started. For this, let's just go ahead and skip through all of this. Data handling and privacy, you can read through this if you'd like. I'm gonna skip through that, and then I'm just gonna skip the survey for AnythingLLM. So for this, we need to create a workspace first. I'm gonna call this my test, and then go ahead and continue. So here is the interface that you saw earlier. We've got kind of some messages that are popping up by AnythingLLM. This is kind of guiding you through it. But first things first is we need to get a model in here. And to do that, we got to set it up inside of our settings. So go to this little wrench for open settings, and we're going to go to AI providers, and then we're going to find an LLM. So by default, the LLM provider is AnythingLLM, and that is powered by Ollama. And Ollama is just another, I think it's another interface and also library for hosting models, and they host their own models, but they're mainly open source ones. We are going to, since I'm running on 8 gigabytes of VRAM, we will use, let's just use Lava 38B, and we're gonna go and click it. And you'll need to click on Save Changes up here for it to start loading and downloading. So anytime you select a model for the first time and save it, it's going to automatically start downloading. And you can check the progress up here in this top right corner. So while that is running, we're actually also going to grab an OpenAI API key. If you don't want to use OpenAI, you can skip this section, but if you want better function calling, you're going to need to use a smarter model for that. So you can use Claude, you can use OpenAI, any one that is inside of here. So you've got OpenAI, Anthropic, you got all these other ones you can work with. You got XAI, stuff like that. You can run other LLM providers in here. You even have Cobalt and then Uba Booga Web UI where you can connect via localhost, but I'm not going to show that today. But it's very customizable, as you can see. But OpenAI, let's go and get an API key. So we're going to search up OpenAI API, and then we're going to click on the homepage here, and then we're going to want to sign up. So I signed up via Google, so I'm just going to log in real quick. And so as you may know, OpenAI's API, it's not free. You do need to pay for API usage. However, I do think it is a reasonable price for the quality of models you're still able to get. So click on your profile and then go over into user API keys. Here we are actually going to just create a API key, create a new secret key that we can use for our project here. Now I'm going to revoke this after the video so that you guys aren't able to use it. So I'm going to call this revoke me, but I'm going to create this secret key, and then I'm going to copy this. So just store it in a location that you have, that you'll be able to find in the future or not, and just create new keys later on. And once you copy that, actually I just recommend that you create new API keys if you need them. We'll go back into AnythingLLM, and then we will exit out of this to go back to the workspace. And then we'll go into the workspace we created, which was my test. And then we'll click on this cog icon here where we need to set up agent configuration. And for this, we're going to go to OpenAI, enter the API key there, save OpenAI settings, and then choose what model you want to use here. Because I don't want to be spending too much on token costs, I'm just going to use the mini model, which is more than enough to do function calling, so on and so forth. And then once you choose that, click on Update Workspace Agent, and you'll be able to use that. So for a laptop like mine, who only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, even though I have 64 gigs of RAM inside of this Lenovo, I still want to outsource big model or big logic to big models, and I won't be able to run that. And I'm not going to be able to do that with like 8B parameter models for Llama, at least not that I've seen. So that's going to configure our agent here. And then I'm going to go back to the wrench and then LLM, and then we'll see that we now have Lava loaded. I'm just going to click on Save Changes, and then you'll see that it's saved here and it's loaded into the system. So let's go ahead and start a chat with it. And I'm going to just say, hi there, how are you today? So gonna send that into the chat here, and we'll give it a couple of seconds to load. One thing that here it is. Hello, I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feelings or emotions like humans do. How can I help you today? So this is the lava model that I was showing a little bit earlier. I can even do a screenshot. Let's try this out and then say, what is going on in this conversation, and see what it gets out of here. So it's got a lot of hallucination in here already. It's saying that that there's Hannah, just completely hallucinated what was occurring in the image. But it did get that it was a chat conversation, which is correct. Now, as you can tell, that was actually pretty fast. And one thing I'm going to show you guys is the task manager. You want to just take a look at the task manager just to see how much memory the model is taking. And in this case, we've got 6.4 gigabytes being used from AnythingLLM. And that is how much space the model takes up on our GPU. So 8 gigabytes, we are more than good enough to run the 8B lava model that we chose here, which is this one here, the 8B lava. I could probably even do 3.2 vision. So let me actually just go ahead and get this downloading in the background. Yeah, I want to see if we can get this one going, as that's pretty interesting. But as long as this does fit on your GPU, you should be good to go. And these are GGUF models, so they can spill over into the CPU and it'll still run fine, except speed will just slow down by quite a bit. So this is what we have so far, just a conversation with the LLM. Now I'm going to show how you can augment it and do things like agentic AI, where we can use different features via like AI agents, so to speak. So that is, I think, where the coolness factor for AnythingLLM comes in, is that they've got this community hub where you can find things like, let's see, different agent skills, different system prompts / commands. Now, I think they just launched this, so I believe all of these are just created by the creators themselves. But I did try this, and it does in fact work for, like, let's say like an archive search tool. We can research things with it, and so let me show you how you can get the agents set up. And to do that, we'll go back into preferences. We'll go back into this home page here. I kind of don't like how it brings us back to this home page each time. I think it should bring us to the previous workspace we were in, but that's okay. We just click on it, and then you click on the cog icon here, go into agent configuration, and then we're going to now configure agent skills. So to do that, you should do that for each of those workspaces, and that's going to bring us to this agent skills area in the settings tab, where we can change what skills the agent is allowed to use. So by default, there are 3: RAG and long-term memory. This is enabled by default, which allows you to ask local documents or ask questions about local documents. Allows you to view and summarize documents that are inside of the workspace. And then it allows you to scrape websites. So I can enter in a website and it'll try to scrape data from that. The other things are things like web search. So we're going to turn on web search so that we can actually access the web. And then I'm going to use DuckDuckGo because we don't need to get an API key for that. But the Google API is actually pretty easy to get access to as well. But why do that when I don't have to? So I'm just going to use the DuckDuckGo one. And then for custom skills, this is what I was showing a little bit earlier. So we're going to click save here. But custom skills, we can add new skills, and we're going to add that archive skill to it. So I'm going to go to explore setting and then go to explore more, and then to bring us to the home page here. And then I'm going to click on the archive search tool. Going to click on import to AnythingLLM, copy import ID. And then we're going to go back into the application. Now, this can be a security hazard, I believe, if you are trying to install agent skills from unverified sources. So be careful with this. I'm not a security expert, unfortunately, but when you're importing things from people online, you should always be a little bit cautious. Now, this was created by the creators themselves, so we are going to trust it. And then, yeah, here it says right here, some information. And then we're going to continue with import. And look, our vision model has been finished. So continue with imports, review item, and then, yeah, here we go. Only imports agent skills you trust because it can run code. And good to go. Import agent skills. And then it's going to allow us to import another item or exit out. So we're done for now. We're just going to go back to the agent skills tab and then add the archive search tool. And archive is basically just a site where research papers are posted that anybody can read. So I often frequent it for the latest and greatest for text to speech. And we're going to try to get that going in a demonstration. So we've got our chat and then we've got our agent set up. And since the other model has now finished, the Llama 3.2 Vision 11B, you'll notice here that it hasn't changed from previously. So still using 6.4 gigabytes of VRAM. But as soon as we go into the chat here and try to start talking to it, I'm going to say hi test. It's going to now load in the new model. So it goes down to 0. And then you can see that the dedicated GPU memory is starting to increase. And we are at 6.9 GPU memory, and then additional, some of it overflowed into CPU memory, as you can see, 5.3 gigabytes here. So we'll go ahead and say this one more time. We'll say, what is a good meal for dinner? So we'll go and ask it, what is a good meal for dinner? And so here you can see the output is slowed down just a little bit compared to the previous one that we had. And that's because all of it doesn't fit on my GPU. But this is actually manageable, I think. Now let's test to see if it is able to get the screenshot a little bit better here. And what are the contents of this screenshot? And we'll go ahead and ask that. Oh, and here we go. It's starting to output it token by token, and it's coming out correct. So it did OCR correctly. What is a good meal for dinner? And then it also OCR the second part correctly as well. So that is really cool. And it's nice to see that we've got this model in here, and that is kind of just scratching the surface of it. You can import any model you want into here. And so I can see this being very powerful to power users out there. And I'll show you a little bit later how you can get other models in here. But agents, we want to use agents now. And to do so, we can do it inside of this chat here by typing @agent. And so it doesn't pop up that little pop-up you saw a little bit earlier, but it will actually send it that way. But if you want to see that pop-up to see what agents are available for chatting, you click the @ button here, and then you just click on this agent here, the default agent for this workspace. So I believe they are adding additional agents to where you can change how those, or change which agents to use. But for now, this is just an all-encompassing agent that has everything in it. All right, so remember how I got OpenAI's API earlier. Now we're going to be switching over into OpenAI's API to use function calling. So I'm going to ask, what tools are available to you? And so here we go, agent invoked. And you'll see that we have these 4 different tools that it can use. It's got those 3 default ones and then archive search. Cool. So let me do... Cool. Can you get me the latest 10 papers on TTS from archive? Make sure to use TTS as your search query. So I'm going to send that in there. And here you go. So you can see found 10 papers, archive. There we go. And it's doing its thought process or behind the scenes right here. And it seems to be in a fail loop here. So here you go, archive search tool failed to execute. Map is not a function. And so I'm going to actually quit out of this by typing /exit, because what just happened there is it wasn't able to successfully run the search, and it's using up a lot of tokens for that. So I'm going to /exit that so that we can try to rerun it. And so I'm going to reset the chat here. So anytime you want to reset the contents of the chat, you have to type /reset, and then that'll clear our workspace and we can start chatting up again. So let's relaunch that here. Let's type in agent. Can you use archive to search up the latest info on, let's do TTS. Let's change up the prompt a little bit. All right. So here we go. It says found 5 recent papers on archive about TTS. Search completed, going over results. And here we go. That is what we wanted. It's giving me 5 results here, URL, summary, and this is pretty cool. Now what I can do is go into, let's copy this link here, towards controllable speech synthesis in the era of large language models. Let's copy the link to that paper and then ask, can you scrape the contents from this page and find the HTML or PDF page to the whole paper? And I'm going to send that in here. Alrighty. So there we go. We can see the PDF here. So here is the PDF. And then if we go to HTML, it didn't bring us to the exact HTML page that we wanted, which is this experimental one here. But we are close enough. But here we go. And let me see if it can scrape info from the PDF. I think it fails, but never hurts to try. Can you use the scraper to grab the contents of this paper here? All right, yeah, it cannot read the PDF page, unfortunately, but that's okay, because what we can do is we can now, let's just say that we want to download it. I'm going to now show you how you can use retrieval augmented generation for it, which allows you to talk to your documents, which let's go into here. Let's download it, go into our downloads folder, go back into our AnythingLLM, and then we'll click on this upload icon here. And it'll bring us to this page here that we can use to upload files. So in this case, let's go ahead and upload that PDF. And boom, you'll see it pop up in this left window here. Move to the workspace, and then we'll embed this. So save and embed. And this is going to create embeddings for each document that you have in here, so that it can use these vector embeddings to find the closest documents to whatever question that you might ask for it. So now we're going to go back into the workspace and say, that's okay. Can you use the RAG tool to go over the document that has been uploaded? All right. And it's found the document, looking at the document, and now it's grabbing the contents of the PDF. All right, and it looks like I ran into the token limit, which is 200,000 tokens per minute. And so yeah, I'll have to wait a little bit for this. But yeah, as you can tell, using these agents requires quite a bit of tokens. So that's why I chose the mini model, or else I would be burning through credits like crazy. If you're interested in looking at the pricing for this, they've got it. You do have to preload the account, so I threw $10 in here, and that should get me plenty of distance. So it actually looks like it's continuing to try to access this document, and yeah, it looks like we're reaching the rate limit for that. So gonna have to go ahead and do /exit now, because that PDF document is unfortunately too large. So that is one limitation that you might run into if you're trying to look at large documents, but that's an issue with the LLM that we're using, and this can be changed to whatever provider you are using. So now that I've / exited out of that, that is some of the functionality of this. Very brief. And I will actually just show if you do want to try to use the agents with a local LLM. Let's go ahead and switch over into, or here, no, we'll leave this 11B here. We'll actually change our agent to that LLM. So we'll go into agent configuration. We'll go into AnythingLLM, and then we'll try to use this vision model for the agent model. So update workspace agent, and now we're going to be able to use that there. You would use this and you would try to do this the same way. So I'm going to click on / reset and try to use it now. So type in agent, can you use, or we'll ask what tools do you have available to you? So I'm going to go ahead and ask the Llama model to see if it's able to figure out what tools it has available. And so I've been waiting for like a minute or two and nothing has come back. So it seems like the local model is failing to grab the tools that are available, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go and type / exit to close out of the agent session. So that's what I've been observing with local models for tool calling or function calling. So that's just unfortunate. But I think 70 billion parameter models might be a little bit better. But by default, none of those are actually in the interface here. So I'll show you one last thing, and that is how you can get custom models into here. And that'll be the end of AnythingLLM. So just to clear out of the models, I'm going to exit out of AnythingLLM. And then if you look inside of your task manager, it should be 0 GB inside of your GPU, or close to it. We'll now just search up AnythingLLM, and then we'll just launch it. And it should also be on the, your desktop if you have it there. But yeah, here we go. It is launched. And then here we go. We can go back into our workspace here. And oh wow, it looks like it actually did complete some part of the generation, I think, here. Knowledge graph, web search, and API and data sources. But it added a little bit extra here. So I wish AnythingLLM was a little bit more transparent on what was exactly happening behind the scenes, like maybe like a terminal where I could see things occurring in. If I installed this from the GitHub repository, I probably could do that. But I just use the Windows installer. That aside, let me show you how you can install or download your own models into here. So we'll go into LLM, and we're going to import a model from Ollama or Hugging Face, or you can import your own gguf file. So I'm going to go with this one, as this is the easiest option. And then we'll click on from Hugging Face Hub, where we can find different gguf models. So let's find one that I think will fit on my computer. We'll search for Qwen. We'll look for Qwen 2.5, Qwen 2.53b instruct. We'll go into here, and we'll go to use this model, go to Ollama, and then we will select copy that, and then we'll just go here and then click on import. So that is going to start importing this model. And as you can see in the top right corner, this model is now downloading. If you do want to cancel it, you can just click it and then that'll start, or that'll cancel it. So for now, we're just going to wait for it to finish up. So click on save changes, and I'm going to wait for that to finish downloading. Okay, so looks like it's having issues unpacking. So it's been unpacking for like 10 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do is just exit out of here. And then, oh yeah, real quick, if you want to find it, like I said earlier, you can type in %app data %, and that'll bring you into this folder. And it's actually in the roaming folder, not the local folder. So you'll go into here, and then you can see all of the files that are part of the package. But I'm just going to relaunch AnythingLLM, go back into my LLMs area, cancel that download, And if you do run into difficulties like I just did, what you can do is just download the quantization that you want to use and just install it that way. So I'll just show that real quick. We'll just download this, this quant right here. So 1.14 gigs. And this one, since I have 8 gigs, I could probably run it at F16. But just for the sake of brevity, I just downloaded the smallest model here. So it's done downloading, and we can just go into this import GIGAF model and go to our downloads. And then this will import that model. So save changes. And then I'm just going to select this one to use. So go ahead and save changes. And then now we can use our own imported model. So that's really easy. So I'll probably be using this interface myself just to test out different LLMs that get released, as it's a nice interface and it makes things pretty simple. And yeah, so that's going to be it for today's video. And this was sponsored by Lenovo and NVIDIA because I'm using this ThinkPad P1 Gen 7 that they sponsored me. But AnythingLLM, as far as I'm aware, is not affiliated with either NVIDIA or Lenovo. So it's a fully open source project that's out there on GitHub that you can modify to your heart's content. So definitely adding this one to my toolbox of AI tools to use, especially for LLM style workflows. And then, yeah, I'd like to thank all of the members of the channel for supporting me, and I very much appreciate it. So I'll see you guys later.